like at the library a little.
Can you hear us yet? Hi, Joe.
Hello, people in the real world.
Well,
Are you in a telephone booth?
Kind of. They have these like phone rooms that are like basically oversized telephone booths because they don't have enough conference rooms. Because even though I'm in the headquarters of a literal $1 trillion company, they still don't have enough meeting rooms. It's kind of amazing. Also, they have really crappy lighting in here too. But
Sandy.
hello.
Next.
I had a
Hey, Joe.
hello.
Us online? Nope.
This thing where you all have to look to your left. That looks like you're looking straight at me, but to me it looks I'm looking straight, like I'm looking from the audience's perspective. It's weird. Oh well.
Okay, do you know of anybody who's not coming tonight?
So Eric will be late. Interestingly, Carlos sent me a note to tell me that he would be coming.
Oh,
So, or at least he'll be trying to. So on account of that, I figure I'll, and I guess we actually have quorum now, but, you know, if Carlo's not here at 7:30, I might, you know, give it a couple minutes just to give him a chance to join, since he did reach out.
I think he comes right from pickleball or something.
Oh, that's right.
I got an email from AARP yesterday that said, in your area, there's going to be some free pickleball lessons, right? And it said, oh, sign up. So I clicked the button because I still haven't learned how to play. And it said Carlos
Carlo.
place in Woburn.
Oh yeah.
That's the big games, you know.
You know, I mean, it's kind of up in the air whether the senior center or the pickleball courts were the hotter senior issue at the last town meeting. There was a lot of enthusiasm about both, let's put it that way.
What's the weather like in California?
A couple degrees milder than home, actually. So, though come to think of it, I don't know. I mean, the weather has been bouncing around. We've had some pretty mild days lately, but then it got hot again. So,
and it's only like 73 here, so it's cooled off a bit.
oh, okay, all right. So then it's warmer here than there. Apparently, we're just. All right, I've got 7:30 Eastern, but also, like I said, I'd give a minute or two for.
I'll see if anybody looks like they're running.
Carlo or anybody else. It would be nice to have more than the absolute minimum number of people. Just saying. So on the one hand, jet lag shouldn't be a problem because I flew out today. On the other hand, I flew out very early today, so it doesn't matter what time zone I'm in. I've been awake for a long time. But, oh well. Yes, when I inevitably overlook something obvious, I'm going to blame it on having gotten up, 4 a.m. to go to Logan. When the clock hits 32, we'll say we call it, start going. All right. My clock has 7:32 Eastern, so let's go ahead and call this meeting of the Ad Hoc Community Preservation Act Study Committee to order. And no, I could not get through that without taking a breath. We've got quite the agenda here, although part of the length of the agenda comes from listing out individual meetings that we would like to present the CPA at. One item that sort of caught me by surprise is the topic of reorganization. I was looking into this for other reasons and noted that the thing in the bylaws that says committees have to reorganize every year doesn't have a thing that accepts ad hoc committees. I actually thought it did, but I couldn't find that. So I said, okay, well, we can take care of that. Yes, liaison reports, example of a CPA project, a suggestion from Sarah that I like that we will talk about an example project every meeting. And then it's all about the outreach, other committees and street fair. And we have our standing agenda items about the composition, process, and contents of our report. So with that, do we have any? I see exactly one member of the public on Zoom. I have the advantage of being able to see Zoom since I'm remote. But does anyone? I can't see who's in the room actually.
Okay.
So does anyone have any comments?
I looked over the stuff that Jackie sent out and I had one comment on
I actually meant public comment. If it's in the packet, we'll get to it in the agenda, won't we?
Okay, sure.
I mean, I did not to.
I didn't know that's what you meant.
Sorry, public comment. Okay. Seeing nothing of that sort. So I've only done this on finance committee where we have Matt there to it actually takes over as chair for the purpose of doing reorganization. I assume it's okay for me to just keep running the meeting since we don't have someone else. I mean, I don't know, Jackie, if that's a you thing, probably not, but if you wanted to, I would let you.
If you want me to, I can.
I don't think, I mean, I'm not really worried about this process being somehow tainted or for that matter, controversial. Yeah,
Can
so
I nominate Joe to stay as chair?
I mean, I was going to say, let me open the nominations for chair for this committee for fiscal year 26. And then I hear a nomination from Martha. Is there a second?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Sandy. Do we have any other nominations or frankly, any other interest? I think if I had more preparation, I might have tried to pawn this off, but I will take responsibility.
Success is what I'm thinking.
Sorry, I accidentally talked over you, Margaret. What was that?
Why mess with success?
Oh, okay. I'm flattered by that assessment, but all right. Okay, well then, I believe the way this works actually is we should move to close nominations and then vote on nominations. So could I get a motion to close nominations for chair?
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Margaret. We are hybrid, so so we have to roll call vote. Just double check and make sure I'm not missing any committee members. No, okay, cool. I'm the only committee member on Zoom, it looks like. But yes, so roll call vote. This is voting to close the nominations. Sandy?
To close or to vote?
Close.
We are voting to close the nominations.
Yay.
This confused me too last week, which is why I remember it so well. And Jackie's laughing because I definitely stepped on Matt Cornels's toes because I didn't get this right last week. But yes, so we're voting on the motion to close nominations for chair. Sandy?
In the affirmative, yes.
All right, Martha?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
And Joe, yes. And then we have exactly one nomination to vote on, so order doesn't matter. Again, it feels weird running this, but that's okay. So voting on the nomination for me for another year as chair. Sandy,
Yes.
Martha,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Margaret,
Yes.
and Joe, yes. Despite the fact that I didn't think ahead about this. All right. In that case, we need I'll open nominations for vice chair. I will happily nominate Sarah to keep doing it because
I'm happy to do it.
I second that.
all right, firsthand experience with that. So, okay. So Sarah's been nominated. Any other nominations?
Move to close?
Okay. Thank you, Sandy. Do we have a second?
Yes, I second.
All right. Thank you, Martha. See, I'm trying to do this by the book here. All right. Voting to close the nominations for vice chair. Sandy,
Yes.
Martha,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Margaret,
Yes.
and Joe, yes. Now voting to on the nomination of Sarah for vice chair. Sandy,
Yes. Yes.
Martha,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Margaret,
Yes.
and Joe, yes. All right. Consider our I's dotted and our T's crossed for another year. And we're not going to have a year after this. So, okay. Liaison reports. Do people have stuff they want to report back from their respective committees?
Well, I guess maybe I should just say, based on the budget allotment that was voted upon recently, the Historical Commission had requested $6,000 and received 1,500. And that difference was was funds for supporting archival efforts that were able to get started because of ARPA funds. So just pointing out that the Historical Commission really doesn't have much money. So any CPA project funds would be incredibly welcome. So I'm just sharing that, but I'm sure you guys have other things to say because I think all of the groups had funds, right? Didn't your group get a?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't get everything we asked for either, but I felt very bad when I saw they cut such a big chunk out of your budget.
No, well, it's traditionally it had been that, and then we got that little boost from ARPA money. And so we wanted to continue the archiving process. So we had thought it was a nice ask, but so
Mhm.
that's gonna be on hold. So. Anybody else?
I did nothing between the last meeting and this one, so I have nothing to report.
For the record, I actually talked with Brian Bowe, Conservation Chair, about conservation's funding needs and the fact that conservation will be bringing a request forward to town meeting in November, and that they would love to have a source of funding, which is not that. I'll actually wait to talk about finance committee because we have a thing about our, the financial forum is on the list of things that we would. Oh, but I actually need to correct the date. That's already changed since what was printed in the agenda. We did end up rejiggering the schedule for finance committee meetings in the fall. So we'll have a regular meeting on the 17th and we'll have a financial forum on the 8th, I believe, of October. I'll have to double check my calendar, but Jackie will probably already correct me if I'm wrong. So it's too easy.
You're good.
Cool. Yep. So it means we have a little bit more time to prepare for that. That will be a relatively high visibility presentation. Not as high visibility as town meeting itself, but probably the next biggest thing.
And that is the second Wednesday in October, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So I will not be able to attend. I apologize in advance.
Yep. All right, we don't need everybody at every one of these, though we'll talk about that in a minute. Any other liaison reports? All right. In case I will hand the mic over to Sarah for our inaugural example of a cool CPA project.
Yeah, so
And
I
another
just
committee.
picked one that was fairly recent because of the 250th of, oh my gosh, am I losing it? The revolution?
Independence.
Independence, yeah. And so, in honor of that, well, it's called the 250th Initiative in the application for Concord. They had a CPA grant or request for 125,000, so they could plant 250 trees in honor of the 250th.
Very nice.
And I thought it was a nice example because it's a small dollar example. But it's also very relevant to the history of Concord and really the whole country. I mean, people flock to Concord for the history of our country and to tour the city and all that sort of thing. So that's that example. But I also wanted to share that recently Egremont, which I'd never even heard of, is a town on the New York border, just under Stockbridge, just approved a 3% CPA. They're a very small town, a population of about 1,500. And because they did 3%, the town will also be eligible for all 3 rounds of the funding from the CPA trust fund. And based on their tax-based data, for them, they'll be generating at 3% only 130,000 a year. So you can see why it's really important for that town to get all 3 grants. But so that's some good news to share there. And then I also just wanted to share what I had mentioned. I might have brushed on this the last meeting, but just that the funds in the CPA trust fund are bouncing back. And currently it's up 5%. So, because there was some concern about it dipping down. So that's my CPA minute.
Cool.
And it's a nice example of, even though it is like a open space, it's also is historical. So it's thought it was a nice example.
I'm actually curious which one they listed it as, because when you do a CPA project, you have to officially choose one.
Yes, it's under open space.
Okay, yeah, but obviously it's still a nice touch, the historical tie-in.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, in the fine print, it says it's Concord Public Works is the applicant, and it says in celebration of the 250th anniversary of the Battle of Concord. So I remember in 1976, where we all marched there. Did you do that, Martha? It was our Girl Scout troop.
Marched, but
Yeah.
I remember it.
I don't think you were born yet, Joe. But
No comment.
yeah, it was a big deal. The Minuteman and all that. So anyway.
Yep. So all right, cool. So when we get to future agendas, I will try to recruit someone else to pick a CPA project to present at our next meeting. So thank you for kicking that off. It was a good idea. All right, outreach. There's 2 major aspects of outreach that we've been talking about. One is to committees and organizations, and one is the Reading Fall Street Fair. So with committees and organizations, it's already started. Sarah reached out to a zillion different committees and organizations. I think I lost count.
All the ones that we went through and
Wow. Yeah. And just because of schedule timing, we went ahead and went to 2 of them. Sarah and I went to the Town Forest Committee on August 11th, and then I attended a meeting of the Reading Antiquarian Society, which is of course not a town committee, but a nonprofit, on August 12th. Sarah, anything you want to report on the discussion from August 11th with Town Forest?
Yeah, actually, my husband was kind of listening in, and so we were out camping when I was on it.
Feedback.
He said, that was so interesting, and we both felt a little bad listening to them go through all the things that they need money for, And it never even occurred to me. I didn't really know that much about the group, the town forest committee and, you know, what they needed funding for. And then when they were talking about this and they got that and this, I was like, wow, it just made us both feel like, you know, we can do better. So,
Yep.
and they were all really interested they had good questions and of course, you being on the finance committee, they were really happy to have you there.
They were really, yes, they wanted to talk to me about their, they are also putting a request to town meeting in November. So I, tried to be helpful, answer questions, wearing my finance committee hat about how that sort of thing works.
Yeah.
And, both they and conservation have reached out about the subject of trying to get into the actual budget, as opposed to doing that like little, whatever, wrestling match in front of the select board that they make the committees do right now. If we actually had a budget lines for these things, it would be, a lot easier to plan, for one thing. Also, the town forest needs were significantly bigger. I mean, they have they're looking at trying at spending $50,000 on invasive species control every year. And they had some math to drive that in terms of the rate that costs and the number of acres that they need to manage. So that wasn't picked out of thin air, but so yeah, they were obviously happy to hear about this possibility, even if they were perhaps more excited about the idea of being in the budget than the idea of being able to, appeal to the a future community preservation committee. So. And the following night, I went to the Reading Antiquarian Society, who was very. That was really interesting. I've technically been a member of the Reading Antiquarian Society for 12 years without ever going to a meeting. That's basically just I think Parker Tavern is cool, and they. Yeah, we're interested in. I mean, the number one question, of course, was, can you spend this money on Parker Tavern? The answer was, so it was definitely not private. They asked about private property as well. And it seemed like the answer was not private property, but nonprofits seem to be a possibility. You have to establish kind of a public interest. Sarah, you can probably articulate that better than me because you did homework on that afterwards.
I did. I didn't print out my homework, but basically, if it's like a historical project that would benefit the public, that the public would have access to, that's sort of like the first line of screening. So you could see where if you're talking about somebody's private home, that really wouldn't qualify, but that there was some gray lines where there was one case where like some home had some very significant architectural pediment. I don't know. I mean, there's a little bit of a gray line, but I would pretty much think that here in Reading, probably we wouldn't, any houses here wouldn't, I don't know. But anyway, so pretty much mostly it has to be something that the public would see and the public would benefit from being able to go and see whatever was being done. So interestingly enough, it could be like an exterior portion of a church.
Ah, okay, yeah, that's how, because we've heard about churches being included in the
Yes.
past, and I mean, of course, those are also generally open to the public, although maybe not, not in the same way as tours at Parker Tavern on Sunday afternoon.
Right. And the church example you just reminded me was in Chelsea, where there were, right? Wasn't that the church that got CPA funding for some sort of restoration on the exterior of it? So,
I heard of one in Belmont too that has gotten.
yeah, but it has to be on the, I think it has to be on the outside.
So like the clock tower on Old South might be a valid need.
Right.
It seems that way.
It's visible
Seems
to
that
the
I'm
town.
about to say it's you just yes, I mean it's part of the experience of being on the town common, and it's hard to be more public than the town common.
Yeah.
So
that took a long time for that church, for the people to raise money for that. All the repairs they had to do, I remember. Yeah.
But what you're saying makes it sound to me like Parker Tavern would be a good candidate because they are open to the public.
Mm-hmm.
That was my.
But not if they wanted to replace a bathroom on the inside. But
Unless it's the bathroom that the public can use while they're touring.
I don't think they have.
There isn't one though. Is
Well,
there?
maybe that would be a
Oh,
benefit.
yeah, adding a
do.
bathroom. Yeah, yeah, maybe
You
not.
know, making
I-
a bathroom
Public
that's
bathroom.
a public
Yeah.
accessible bathroom in
Uh-oh.
Barker Tavern might be valid.
Are Ginny and Everett listening? So,
I mean, they're not on Zoom, so, but yes, we'll certainly be in touch with them in the future.
yeah,
So
it is.
I made a point to get on the mailing list for their future meetings, actually. So this won't be my last, but so. All right, so shall we looking into the future? I have a list here, and it's already in the agenda, and it's already out of date in some cases and incomplete in at least one other. So
So we need to pick who's gonna go to these meetings, right?
yes. Let me make actually my own notes. Yeah, we need to identify. I mean, I'm thinking ideally 2 people, so we have a alternate or whatever, or people just don't have to. People don't want to be there by themselves. They don't have to be. And with 7 of us, it seems like it ought to be doable. Although, granted, there's only 4 of us here tonight. 5 of us here tonight. Still, that's a little short. So yeah, the running through the list here, and then I'm actually going to sort of corrections in real time. The financial forum, as I mentioned, is October 8th. I'm correcting that in my own notes here. And then the one that's not included that came up was school committee. We heard back from Sean Brandt, and got tentatively proposed for Monday, September 15th, I think that was. Checking my email. Yes. So I'm writing down.
I would be available to go to that one.
All right, so let's okay. I mean, we can go through in any order. I was going to go through in chronological, but actually, let's go through in chronological order, just so I don't lose track of anything here. So the first one is we've been invited to the Climate Advisory Committee this week, day after tomorrow. I will not be there because I am traveling for work this week, and while I will go out of my way to join this meeting from California, I'd rather not have to do that for others. But are there?
So climate advisory is Wednesday, the 20th.
Yep.
I'm going to be away.
Is that up against? I'm about to say, isn't that always up against? Don't they always go up against conservation? I remember not being able to attend to their meetings when I was on conservation.
Well, conservation is not on the 20th.
Oh, how about that? Okay.
We're on the 27th.
Yep.
So I could do climate advisory committee.
Okay. And then,
Do we have a time for them and a place?
yeah, that's a good question.
Zoom only.
Oh, it's Zoom only?
Oh yeah, that one's Zoom
I
only.
could do it. I could do it with you, Martha.
Okay.
All right, Martha, Sarah, and yeah, that should be posted already. That is posted already, actually. Let me
Jackie,
go
what time
find
is
it
it?
on the town website.
I'm sending you the
Oh, thank you.
invite right now.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, what was that? The mics
She's
in
just
there are
sending us the information for the Zoom link.
okay. Yeah, I mean the Zoom link should also be in the posting, I think. Yeah, they are posted for, drumroll please, hold on, 7 p.m. on, okay, that would have been my guess, but 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Excellent, okay, so, I guess we started going through the meeting, but after we get through this list of doling out committees, we should circle back to the actual presentation itself. Reading Housing Authority on August 25th. I'm about to say, having seen Margaret's presentation, I suspect more than one or two of us will want to go to that. Are there
I'll be there as a commissioner.
What's that?
I'll be there as a commissioner.
Yep. No, so we
Is
get
that a
yeah.
Zoom
For,
meeting or in person?
It's hybrid, but
You wear two hats?
yeah, I can wear two hats. I do. I'm on the monthly agenda, so I always give an update on what happens here.
this would be the
You lovely.
to bring a guest for this one. Is there anybody? Nobody else is volunteering. I'll volunteer. I will be back.
You missed Sandy saying he would do
Oh,
it.
darn it! The mics in there are, despite all of our fancy IT upgrades, I still can't hear everything you all say.
Where's the mics? Didn't there used to be
They're,
mics here?
they're up in the ceiling somewhere. See
Oh.
that green light up there?
Oh.
Yeah.
You have to
So
Project
speak up and project,
okay.
yeah.
I
We
mean,
don't have the right here ones. Though I noticed Select Board had little directional mics right on their tables.
Yeah, that's
is that an RCTV thing, maybe, or?
I don't
either
know.
way.
I guess we
Right
just
over
don't
there.
rate.
It's for the Zoom.
All right. Anyway, well, so I apologize for not hearing, and I've written down Margaret and Sandy for Housing Authority. Although one thing I should say is, do people think we should post for all of these, or is it safe to assume that people who are not the designees will not be there, or is that case by case?
I don't know what you're saying.
Okay, I think what he's saying is, as long as no more than 2 of us go to any meeting, we
Yeah.
don't have to post
Right,
for open
okay.
meeting law.
All right.
And
Yeah, 3 even actually. We get one more free plus the 2 people who
You
are
have to
supposed
have 4. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think we're
So-
safe.
yeah,
And if
All
somebody
right,
shows
okay.
up who shouldn't be there, toss them out.
Yeah.
Right, if you're not one of the, if you really want to, so this is actually, I like this because this means that if you want to go to one of these, you will volunteer to be one of the 2 people, because if you don't volunteer to be one of the 2 people, you might not get in.
That's right. Select.
There you go, exactly. We just made this exclusive.
Hi, Joe. It's Katie. I just wanted to say that our meeting is at 5 and it is hybrid.
Yes.
But I can, I'll move the agenda around to put this first, so that you guys don't have to hang around.
Okay, appreciate that
is
very
that
much.
Reading Housing Authority?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we didn't mention time of day. I did notice that. I remember that from the invitation. So
Mhm.
that's a notable exception. Many of the committees meet at 7, but I know that one meets at 5. Presumably so that Katie can go home afterwards.
Sometimes.
So all right. So the next one in calendar order is CPDC on September 8th.
So
If
I have to disclose that I'm going to be on vacation for most of the middle of September. So I'm not a
I mean,
candidate.
we've already got you down for 1. That's cool, and we're not going to be done.
I don't know. It's the Housing Authority. It doesn't seem like it really should count.
Sure.
CPDC.
Don't worry, we'll let Martha count conservation too. And actually, Sarah, we haven't heard from. Have we heard from historical?
We haven't heard from historical.
But
I-
your
oh,
own
I didn't
your
even-
own
I forgot to
committee
Bring it up. at our
ghosted you.
meeting. I will let them know.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. But yeah, so getting back to the thing. So CPDC.
I will volunteer
September
to be
8th. Actually, let
one
me
of
check what day of the week is that.
3. So,
On Monday.
Sandy, the microphone does not like where you're sitting or something. I don't get it.
Not too soft.
said I will volunteer to be one of a couple or 3 for CPDC.
Okay. I'm actually just checking my calendar before I open my mouth again.
Can we assign Eric in his absence?
I mean,
I'm
I'm a little reluctant to assign people who aren't here. I think
I'm
this
kidding.
is one nice thing about assigning 2 is that if either Carlo or Eric wants to come to one of these, they can do so, and there's no
Yeah.
danger of quorum.
I can go with Sandy. I'll go with Sandy.
Oh, okay. I was going to volunteer for that one, but I'm not going to fight people too hard on it.
Oh, if you
Uh,
want to go,
Yeah, I'll do, yeah, actually, because I think, well, I mean, both the 8th and the 10th are a bit, I mean, neither is perfect, but I think I'll volunteer for CPDC.
Okay, I'll be an alternate if something comes up.
Okay. So I wrote down me and Sandy for September 8th for CPDC. Trails Committee tentatively on September 10th. I did get in touch with the Trails Committee chair on the phone, actually. A member of the Trails Committee tipped me off that that might work better than email, and it did. Martha, and that might be why your attempts to connect with that committee didn't work if you used email.
I did
Yeah.
use email.
Yep,
And
yep, help.
I can't volunteer to go to that one because that's conservation.
Yep.
That's the 10th, yeah.
Yeah. Which is too bad because otherwise it would be a fit.
Yeah. It would have been a good fit.
Possible they might, I know, it's possible they might meet on the 3rd instead, but it sounded like they were leaning away from that. I assume we
If
should
we
plan on,
switch to the 3rd, I could do it.
yeah.
You know, let me know. But I will assume Sandy said you could do that one.
Yeah.
Sandy can do that one.
All right.
That's 3 in a row for Sandy.
Yeah, I mean, you can put me on
Tic-tac-toe.
there too. You can put me on there too.
Okay. Yeah, Wednesday's a little bit harder than Monday for me. I mean, 7 p.m. As you all have heard. Of course, today I could have done a 7 p.m. meeting just fine because, but oh well. But yeah, I could do it Monday, 7 p.m. So all right, that brings us to Monday the 15th and the school committee.
Okay, which I just volunteered for earlier.
Right, got you there.
I see. Okay.
Yep. I could potentially take that one too.
Cool. Me and Joe.
Sounds good. All right.
And the school committee.
Yes. So for Conservation Commission, the chair's response was, we meet every 2nd and 4th Wednesday. Just let us know what works for you. I assumed that I don't know why I didn't consider the 27th. We could, I suppose, ask to be on the agenda for the 27th, but otherwise, the next week we have a conflict on the 10th with Trails, so then it would be, unless we want 2 different people to go. That's actually the other possibility, I guess. We could double up, but have different people.
And I already met with the conservation last spring. And I know also already went to town forest that I'd also gone to earlier. Is it important to go to ones that I've already met with our new presentation, or should we focus on making sure we get to all the people one time through?
I mean, I was figuring I did go to town forest already. So, and I did think it was interesting, and they did, of course they had background, so I could skip a bit. They also had new members. I don't know if there's been any turnover in conservation, but town forest committee had several new members since the spring.
Yeah, we've got some new members. You're right.
There you go.
Okay.
So let's do the conservation commission second time around. Yeah, I put down the 24th. The other thing also was just spacing out from other meetings here.
So you're looking at September 24th now?
Yeah.
Well, I could certainly do conservation because I'll be there anyway.
Yeah. No, I figure whenever we do one of our own committees, we get one for free. If we'd actually heard back from REC, we should probably reach out to REC. They have a new chair now too. I know they reorganized. I didn't think about that when we were timing this, but several of these committees might have new chairs compared to even a month ago.
Okay,
yeah.
Sandy's gonna come with me to conservation.
Okay. We gave Sandy one off and now he's back on. All right. So bylaw committee date is TBD. So I understand not necessarily committing people to that, although maybe if I could get a short list of who's interested, we could do a, I can reach out to, less than a quorum of us between meetings to arrange for representation at the bylaw committee.
Joe, can I
I
ask
am
you-
interested. Yeah.
So the meeting with the bylaw committee is different than meeting with the others, because the bylaw committee isn't gonna benefit. They're actually gonna be tasked, right? Tasked with writing a bylaw.
Yes. I mean, that's one where actually, it might be the more of us that come, the better, I would think, just because it's a nice show of like, well, we'd be discussing the actual process of what would happen if we adopted and
Would it be better if we invited them to come to a meeting? Because then we'd all be here.
I mean, I would think the higher priority is making sure we get more of them than getting more of us.
Okay.
If we invite them and only two of them come, then meh. So,
Okay.
But I will put my own name in for bylaw, assuming that I can.
Do you know when they meet? What day of the week?
Oh, you know what? I bet I should look at their, like, if I could figure out when else they posted. I don't know if they have a regular. They don't meet all the time because they don't. We don't change the bylaws outside of town meetings, so they don't have that much to discuss. During most months.
They're often on Thursdays or whenever they can all like get a quorum. They do have one tentatively scheduled for September 8th, but that's not definite.
Oh gosh, really? Okay.
And that's the same day as CPDC.
Yeah.
Yeah. In which case, I would suggest we put off CPDC a month because I feel like the bylaw one is the more critical.
Do you?
So.
Well, I'm wondering, do we have enough people that we could do both? Because I could go to one of those. Maybe between Joe and Sarah, we should have one of each of you, because you're the chair and the vice chair, and then you could have a buddy. So we've got Sandy and Joe right now. Are you available, Sarah, that night on the 8th?
Okay.
Sandy, do you want to come to bylaw with me, or do you want to stay with CPDC?
I could do either. I'll stay with CPDC if that's good. I guess my comment on bylaw, Joe, is I think it was last meeting we talked about them being sort of a later thing to attend to. I kind of took a pass on the bylaw that would come after town meeting and after the election, where it would thereupon be up for the following town meeting. And it's almost as though this is really premature. They should certainly be aware at the point of information that enactment of this would necessitate an eventual bylaw. But I don't know, it seems to me rather distant to be drawing them in on that eventuality. In other words, it doesn't seem so critical to me, time sensitive.
I mean,
we spent a lot of time there, but maybe I'm mistaken in terms of what their function is.
no, I think you're perfectly right about the timeline in terms of when they would need to take action. My own thinking had been, it's still good for them and good for us to start a conversation now. Give them as much advance notice and get I don't imagine they're going to have a ton of feedback right away, but the sooner we talk to them, the more feedback they'll probably have, more helpful feedback they might have for us later. Yeah.
But it would be on the eventual bylaw, would it not? That we would want their feedback, or do we want it on CPA more generally?
Sandy, I don't know why I can't hear. I can hear Martha just fine, who's sitting right next to you, and I can't hear you.
It's over this way.
Yeah, like I can hear when Martha like whispers to the side to Sandy. I can hear it. It's weird.
Try again, Sandy.
No, it's, my point was, is the feedback from them would probably be on CPA generally as opposed to the particulars of the bylaw.
Yeah, I mean, I like all the feedback we can get. I
Okay.
don't,
Yeah.
you know,
And can you hear Sandy better when he's over closer to me?
slightly, but I feel like maybe one of you has been like
Or
projecting to
scooch
the back
over.
of the classroom or something.
There we
Sorry,
go.
this is silly, I know.
Cozy, yeah.
All right, so getting back onto the scheduling thing. So that gives me Sarah and Sandy for CPDC, how alliterative, on September 8th. And was that Martha, were you the one?
Yep, I could do September 8th.
Okay, cool. So right now I've got that. This does mean that Sandy and Sarah have a doubleheader week on the 8th and 10th.
That's all right.
If somebody needs to swap, let me know. Okay, and then the next one that we know a date for is the financial forum, which is technically a finance committee meeting and a select board meeting and a school committee meeting, on October 8th. Obviously, I will be there. This one we might just post for, I'm guessing, because this will be probably the most discussion. It's going to be more of a, I'm expecting, input from all three the boards and committees represented there, as well as possibly the public. Indeed, we're more likely to get random members of the public at the financial forum than we are at any of these others. So
As long as you know I can't make it, so you should definitely have commitments from members of this committee to be there. Don't just post assuming we all come and then everybody says, oh, someone else is going.
who can
So Joe, you're gonna be there, right?
yes, yeah.
I'm in.
Sarah, should I call on you because we're they'll expect the chair and vice chair, or
Sure.
Okay. So
All
Joe,
right.
Sarah, and Sandy
Yeah,
at minimum.
and I should be able to make it as well.
okay.
So then
And
you.
Carlo will likely be there, given that he is a member of the select board. Although, I mean, select board attendance is not always 100% these things. So,
Can we
it's
just
not-
review, can you just review who's doing what, just so I can make sure I didn't
Sure.
miss any?
So here's what I've got, and then it'll be really interesting to see whether this matches what Jackie's notes she's been taking. So for climate advisory, August 20th, I have Martha and Sarah. For the housing authority on the 25th, we have Margaret and Sandy, and I didn't mention Katie, but I probably should. And then for CBDC on September 8th, I have Sarah and Sandy. For bylaw, tentatively September 8th, I have Martha and myself. For Trails Committee on September 10th, I have Sandy and Sarah. For School Committee on September 15th, I have Martha and me again. For Conservation on September 24th, I have Martha and Sandy. And then for the Financial Forum, everybody's invited, and it sounds like Sarah, Sandy, Margaret, and I will likely be there. And, obviously we'll ask Eric and Carlo if they want to come too. So we're still waiting to hear from, how many committees are we expecting to hear back from? I mean,
Okay, I
I
have
feel
a
like
list.
historical's a safe bet. If
I
it's
have a list
not,
for
I
you.
have questions.
You want me to read to you who hasn't responded?
Sure.
Okay. The Board of Library Trustees, the Board of Cemetery Trustees, the Celebration Trust Committee, the Commissioner of Trust Funds, the Council on Aging, the Cultural Council, the Historical Commission, the Killam School Building Committee, the Recreation Committee, and that's it.
All right. So, I mean, some of those, like Celebration Trust and Cemetery and
Yeah.
the trust funds one, if we miss those, I mean,
Actually, I feel like Ginny Blodgett responded to the cemetery one. actually.
really. Although if it's Ginny, I just talked with her at the RAS meeting. So we can,
Just double check.
defer to her on whether it's worth an additional thing. Killam School Building Committee is another one that's a significant committee, but not necessarily, but maybe less related than others. Even less so than, you know, Bolt, Levitt, Library Trustees, and Council on Aging are also not specifically the likely sponsors of CPA projects, but so
I guess I'm just thinking, I think, so Ginny responded on behalf of the Antiquarian Society, but not the Board of Cemetery Trustees, so I'll follow up with her.
okay, yeah, I mean, I would,
Might not be necessary, but,
right.
yeah.
I don't really know anything about the Board of Cemetery Trustees. That's definitely a meeting I have never been to. But
the cemetery has a lot of historic markers.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this at a past meeting. We had, somebody from, I think it was the DPW came to a historical commission meeting saying how one of the, retaining walls on one of like the family sites was falling forward and was gonna need to be repaired when they wondered if we had any resources or something like that. And I guess they do have a fair amount of historical monuments and things like that that need to be cleaned and reset and things like that. So they would benefit. So I'll,
okay, so yeah, so fair enough.
Yeah.
And especially if there's anybody there who isn't Jenny, who of course already did see this, then yes, we are spreading the word further.
Yep.
So, all right.
The booster clubs that are sort of under the heading of recreation, booster, football team booster club would give you a big group of people compared to just the recreation committee.
Yeah, I mean, this might be a question for the recreation committee or a question for Eric in particular.
Yeah.
If he has connections or knows where we could find such connections.
Okay.
I agree this is a good idea. We're also doing like a meeting or two a week for the next 5-6 weeks. So like, I'm not too worried about us like underachieving here or whatever. I think but yes, we should, I could even follow up with, assuming that Eric doesn't hop in, which he could, though it sounded like he might not be available before 8:30, which we haven't quite hit. So he may show up and we can ask him. But otherwise, I'll take an action item to follow up with him about both. About both rec and the booster close. All right. Yeah, as we hear from more committees, Sarah and I can, well, actually, let me ask now, for the ones that haven't responded to us, library, cemetery, historical, council on aging, I'm not so sure about Killam, but if two other people really want to go to that, go for it, and rec. Do we have people who are specifically interested? Because that makes it easier for us to, like, if Sarah hears back and then Sarah can talk to you, we don't have to get a quorum together to schedule our attendance at a meeting. That's what I'm thinking here. So,
Remind me what BRAC is?
rec.
Rec,
Right.
rec, okay. Thank you.
So Joe, I will identify my interest and tentative availability for aging,
Uh-huh.
rec, and library.
Okay, I'm writing those down.
Subject to conflict, that's all.
And I'd be willing to volunteer, but it would need to be an October date.
I couldn't hear that, unfortunately.
That I'm willing to volunteer, but I'm not available in September.
Okay. So anything that gets pushed back into October, we'll hit you up. Obviously, I wrote Sarah for historical. I don't really need to, but I just did. I don't need to. Let's say if Sarah's getting the emails back from these people, I don't need to ask her what she's interested in. Were there people who were particularly interested in Killam School Building Committee?
I don't think it's a big, it would
Alright.
be like for playground expenses, I think. Right? Wasn't that the reason why they, because they didn't really get to, in the budget, to do the playground, I think.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that right? You should know, Joe.
No, actually, that's like, I mean, like inside the project budget is not actually, honestly, like finance committee is more like the operating budget and not so much the like budget of specific projects. Like that's in fact exactly what the Killam School Building Committee is. There, we have a committee for the budget within that project, and that's them. But yeah, I mean, I mean, if we hear back from them and they're like, oh gosh, please come talk to us, then we'll find 2 people to go. But otherwise, I'm willing to let that one go.
I would be willing to help with any of these, but my availability is basically Mondays or Tuesdays. So if you have one that wants to have somebody come on a Monday or Tuesday, let me know.
Okay. No, this is good. I've got the preferences for Sandy. I've got Margaret written down for any, and I don't feel bad about using that liberally because she's not able to come in September. And then I wrote down the Monday, Tuesday thing for Martha. Cool. All right. Shall we move on to talking about what we want to say to these people?
Yeah.
So I made some slides. I showed them to
We
the
want to talk
Forest
about
Committee.
the agenda was planning for the Reading Fall Fair.
Is that well, but actually I haven't left the topic of reaching out to committees because
Okay.
This is the part where we talk about what we say to them too.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that.
So yes, no, I'm not off script yet. So I made some slides. Jackie put them in the packet. I showed a version of them to the Town Forest Committee, and they didn't throw any tomatoes at me. But I'm very interested in. Well, first, I can share these as Google Docs with people. People want to or Google Slides. People want to modify it themselves for their own committees they're going to, and then. Yeah, I'm also interested in any feedback people might have that we would want to apply to, the template that we give everybody.
I had one comment on the presentation. And I wrote it down as page 4 out of 16 of what was attached to our thing. There we go, that page, perfect. I would like to suggest we add the word yet at the end of that slide.
I love it.
So did
I
Sandy.
love it.
Where are you putting it?
Reading has not yet.
Oh,
Yeah. I
Not-
that is exactly the right attitude. Thank you.
Uh-huh. And
So-
then going back 2 pages into the like flyer, I had one suggestion for the flyer, which
Oh,
is
okay, yeah.
just nitpicking, but there are 2 ands in the part about markers. Yeah, restoration of town monuments, memorials, and markers and historical buildings.
Yeah,
I think if we could get rid of that first and,
Yeah.
that would be more
yeah,
grammatically correct.
yeah.
Thank you. Everything else looked great. And isn't there a Parker Tavern picture right there? We better hope that
Mhm.
they can get something out of us.
We did talk about this some before, and we had some idea, but then, yeah, Sarah went
Yeah,
into a
I mean,
little
my
more.
research has also supported that it would be eligible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if they needed a new roof or
Yeah.
paint the trim or something like that.
They do need a new roof. Actually, I think they might need a new roof before we can help them. That was actually one thing they were like, they mentioned in the meeting, not in great detail, but
Yeah.
I did talk to them. They were concerned. They were curious about the timeline. That was one thing that probably a lot of committees will be curious about. In fact, maybe I just realized, just I'm talking faster than I think, but I wonder about adding to the what next slide at the very end of the presentation if I should include information about, or we should include information about what happens if adopted, because there's a timeline there too. You know, where it's, you know, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Do we want to say like when it would be,
Yeah.
you
First
know,
money available,
right, exactly. Yes,
by law written.
yeah, by like, right. Um, so yes, it would be, I mean, just I'm doing this in my own slides copy. 'Cause I don't even know if it's possible for Jackie to do it here. Maybe it is. But yes, I'm writing, you know, something along the lines of, you know, April 2027 would be town meeting vote on creating a community preservation committee. And then April, this is where it gets, we're like in the future here. So yeah, what I'm writing is April 2027 town meeting vote on creating a community preservation committee. I can send this to you in writing too, Jackie, if it helps for later. And April 2028 would be town meeting vote on first allocation of CPA funds. And July 2028 is like first distribution of CPA funds. I believe that's correct, that we would create the committee, you know, the next town meeting after the vote, but then we start, I don't feel the need to mention that the taxes start getting collected July 2027. I prefer to talk about the part where they start getting spent July 2028. And actually, I'm not even 100% sure about that timeline, come to think of it. I mean, no, we shouldn't be able to know. Like, we should know for sure, or pretty precisely, how much money we have from the fiscal year 28. We don't have to wait until the end of the year to know how much money it is, because we know how much property tax we're collecting, more or less, even before we collected it. We know by like the middle of the year when assessments are done and stuff. So yeah, that's probably a good thing to include, because that was definitely a question, was like, how soon can we get this for our roof? And the answer is not super soon. But, oh well.
Speaking of roofs,
Yes.
Colonial Chorus's old hose house is fundraising for a new roof.
Right.
And I wonder whether we should have Colonial Chorus be one of our groups we reach out to.
Ooh. That is a good idea. I'm going back and putting that in my notes on who haven't we reached out to. Do
And,
you have a contact there by any chance?
yeah, I think I do. I could reach out to some people and see.
Okay, yeah, if they have a board meeting or something that where it would make sense to talk to them, I think. I mean, they'll be disappointed that we can't help them this year, but
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, and I wonder whether that Little Red Schoolhouse Quantapowhat Players owns would also qualify as a historical building.
It
And,
is, yeah.
okay, so Quantapowhat Players might be a similar group we could reach out to. So, you know, they might not be top of the list, but as we're working our way through and we find ourselves done with the town committees and the recreation booster clubs, they wouldn't hurt. You know,
Yep.
anybody who can put in their 2 cents to support this.
Yep.
Oops, I'm campaign committeeing now. Sorry.
Very hard.
no, but we might anyone who it turns out that the Venn diagram of people who might support this when it becomes a ballot question and people who might have good input to us for our mission on a report is a circle. All those people will be able to give us input that we might want for a report. So
When we go to these committees, do we end up with an ask? And if so, what would it be? Do we want to try to get a committee vote as to whether or not they support the adoption of this, or the recommendation that at least if you put up? And do we want a sense of them as to what the surcharge should be? Since that's a key blank that we're trying to fill in. And should we ask them what projects, if any, they can come up with that might add to our list of how the money might be used?
this is a great idea, and I'm coming up with actually the Jackie. Should I? Well, actually, I don't know if I can present on this thing. Can I present? Be able to.
He said that's a great idea, so I think he heard you.
All right. Can you see my what can you do slide?
Ah, yes, we can.
Excellent.
Awesome. All right. So yeah, this is what I've just hold on, let me get my cursor in the right place here. So yeah, so I'll fix the formatting here, but you see the idea of extending the timeline past the town vote to include the part where we actually decide how to spend the money and spend the money for the first time. And then yeah, what can you do? And I wish I was taking notes while Sandy was talking a second ago, because I do think we want to ask about certainly we want their input for our report. Or they have, suggestions on how, we can wordsmith this, but on how CPA could running.
Joe, I think you started with a brief overview of the CPA with the Forest Committee, didn't you?
At the beginning of this presentation, there is one.
Oh, okay, so I thought you meant
So this is the last, yeah, this is.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I'm editing the presentation that we.
Never mind.
All right, so down to the end, yeah, because this is, I think.
You know, when I went to conservation and town forest, that was the question I asked them is
Yeah.
what other things could we fund that you could use money for? But I like Sandy's idea of getting a sense from them of what percent we should vote.
So, Joe, what I was thinking of, if it's not, politically inappropriate, is to ask them whether or not, as a group, as a committee, they support in concept.
Yeah.
So, for example, at a later point when we're writing our report, we can inform the selectmen that we've run around to various committees that have an interest in the subject matter and receive hopefully unanimous support for CPA adoption being pursued.
Um,
And you could even go on and say, I'm running an article up in front of town meeting. And then also that input serves to inform the content of that article in terms of the surcharge rate, again, based on input from, I'll say representative groups within town.
Yeah.
And then you could sort of focus at the end in terms of what comes to their mind as ideas of how to use the money within the realm of their committee. And it may surprise us, they come up with ideas we haven't thought about. I'm sure they will, actually.
So I've got these 3 things. That is part of the town forest committee meeting that I should have reported on. Didn't they asked, can we vote to support this? And I did explain that, like, as a, due to the curious nature of campaign finance law, you are totally allowed to express an opinion on how town meeting should vote, and thou shalt not express any opinion at all on how voters should vote. But yeah, that's so there was definitely interest in that, and I expect other committees will have the same question. So we should just offer that.
I mean, you could even back it up further if you wanted to be cautious and say, would you support it being recommended to the selectmen for their consideration as an article in front of town meeting? Because I think that's going to be the first turning point.
Select board, and then yeah, I mean, it is. We should probably mention the town meeting thing. I think that's a
and town meeting.
Yes.
Just add town meeting at the end of that.
Yeah, and then when we go to our select board meeting, we can come there with a list of 15, 20, whatever town committees that say, yes, please.
Yeah.
Put this on the agenda, on the warrant for town meeting. I like that idea.
No, that's good. I like that a lot.
I would just
Yes,
put
that's another. Sorry.
I would just put the input on possible surcharge rates after the vote after asking whether they would vote to support it.
And I would put more ideas last.
Surcharge.
Okay, I mean, that's interestingly, I was putting the vote last and now it's first. Okay, I mean, we're not, I'm not of the impression the order of this list is super momentous, but
and then earlier in your slide, at least what was in the packet, there was something missing. Filled it up, filled it in. It was what could CPA do?
Oh yeah, that's the I think if I was in less of a hurry, I probably would have created like what's that called? There's a word for this, but I've been awake for too long today. See, I knew it would get to me eventually. A slide in a presentation that separates one section from another. Because we're going from the sort of autobiographical introductory part to the benefits of CPA.
Okay, so that slide is not supposed to have information on it. It's just supposed to be the introduction to the next section.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's a.
So maybe something like section 2, what could CPA do?
Yeah.
To do fix thing or fix presentation. All right.
So Joe, another way to do
to
it,
make it look less goofy. Because yeah, no, I
Sandy's got a suggestion.
Sorry.
An alternative, I don't know whether it's better or not, would be to have that same question introduce the next 4 slides so that it gets repeated. What could CPA do for open space preservation? And the next
Yeah.
page, what could CPA do for recreation?
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I'm going to capture that as a comment to myself.
It's redundant, but it does away with the same slide.
Yeah, or just put the headers, conservation, recreation, historical
Yeah.
housing as the subset there, and then you go to a slide for each one afterwards.
I thought about that. The only reason I didn't already do that was because I've already got the very first slide.
Yeah.
Lists
You're
out,
right.
you know, this doesn't separate conservation from recreation, and we have otherwise called them out separately because there are, in fact, it's not a single
Competing.
group. It's not a single group. They're not competing, but there's something there. Yeah, there's well, God, let's not go there. Yeah. All right. Sarah, I'm not much on ChatGPT, but I did use AI to generate this image. Of course, I used Google's Gemini, not ChatGPT, because but same difference. But I was like, I knew I had a picture for like this goes to trees and old houses and housing and yeah.
I was wondering, is that supposed to represent housing or old houses? It's
Yes.
kind of a little both.
Exactly. So, all right. Other feedback on the presentation.
So, I mean, the affordable housing piece, talks about kind of the demand for affordable housing, but doesn't really say what CPA can do. Where the other ones are very project specific. This is what it will do in Reading. This is
Yeah.
generic.
Good.
Yeah. So there could
Point.
be like upgrades to Tannerville, right? Isn't Tannerville missing an elevator or something like that? You know all the things.
Yeah.
So-
Can you give a few?
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, keep those last 2 lines, but maybe shorten, take out that second dot and use what Martha's saying. I mean, Margaret.
There's, I can get 2 vertical lines quickly if I just define, if we don't write out the definition of cost burden.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, so you
Although,
know.
I mean, it's worth, actually, I'm going to copy that into speaker notes though, because I certainly don't remember that definition off the top of my head. I'm sure Margaret does, but I don't.
Which one are you, which one?
The
are you doing?
the definition of cost burdened by housing.
Yeah, no, yeah, you gotta, I think, keep that in there because people won't know what it is.
Oh, okay. Well, if I leave it in, then we it's getting crowded up in here.
The
But
first one, though, shouldn't it be more of an urgent need, like that improvements needed? We already have, and I mean,
all right, this is something that we can also, people are welcome to edit their versions they take to different committees, stuff like that. But yeah, and actually, Margaret, if you've got like a short list of things to highlight, maybe because your presentation has a lot of good ideas, and I was having trouble
I'll
picking
send
it.
you just a couple because
yeah.
Yeah.
we don't need 8 more slides. We just need 8 more words.
Yeah, and I'll try to figure out, I mean, there's other than.
Yeah, no, I can see if I can wordsmith the 2 bullet points. I mean, I do think they say something interesting and important because I don't think, people forget, how many people are food insecure and have to use the food pantry until they see the line at the food pantry.
You know what, the term affordable housing, when it's being used like in terms of like the 40R, like, it's not the same as this. It's almost like this is low income housing, right? And subsidized. Maybe we should rename it that.
But it's a wide spot. It covers all. It covers, the low income, but it also covers kind of a middling group as well. And I think the blanket, if you can make it as wide as you can, hopefully gets more people under it and supportive of it.
If I recall from Margaret's excellent and detailed presentation, the CPA bounds on what constitutes affordable housing are wider than the possibly infamous 40B bounds on affordable housing. That's the one that leads to, if you don't have enough of it, then developers can overrule your zoning.
Right.
And that's one that, of course, in practice, there's going to be a lot of attention to that in particular because people don't like the developers overruling zoning thing. I mean, it's an effective stick, but it does get people's attention. But yeah, actually, in terms of there's CPA can be used on things that wouldn't meet that criteria. So, all right. Anything else for this?
This is great, Joe.
Oh, cool. Thank you all for the input. This is again, I'm just taking stuff that you all talked about over the, hold on, let me, where am I? Stop screen sharing. Wait, where do
I had one other question or comment. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh, you had one more question on the slides?
Yeah.
Sorry, you probably said so too, and I just can't hear you. It's really weird.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll try to speak up. It's on the page that is titled, "How much would it cost?" And I'm just wondering whether or not we want to be a little bit more pointed about who's bearing that cost, such as to say, how much would it cost to property owners? Maybe it's implicit, but it seems to kind of skirt the point in the title. I don't know. That's just my read. And it's kind of puts I guess I'm suggesting that the title be more pointed in terms of who is bearing the cost. Maybe if you get into the table, that becomes quite clear, but maybe not from the title.
So your suggestion was property owners?
How much would it cost?
Taxpayers?
You could say taxpayers. I hesitate to use the word tax, but
Yeah, I mean that's I definitely thought about this. I mean, I'll go back to sharing.
Yeah, I like property owners as a group.
This can also also includes commercial properties, right? Or is that something to TBD?
So we've talked about this a little bit under the subject of possible exemptions and whatnot in the past, where the amount, the share of Reading property that is commercial is small, like way less than 10%. It's more than 5%, but it's not a lot. So you end up getting the comment that I know I made before, and I still stand by, is that including commercial property will generate a lot of controversy and not a lot of revenue. We're going to hear about how hard it is to be a small business owner, and it is hard to be a small business owner, to be clear. In exchange for, another, maybe 5% of revenue raised. It might be 50% more trouble for 5% more revenue, kind of a thing.
And isn't that also what's been going on when the select board votes on the rates, and the commercial rate is a tiny bit higher than the residential rate, but it creates a lot of fracas?
That is part of why I drew that inference for our purposes. That is among the more contentious things the select board does every single year. And it's always kind of a scene. And it's, yeah.
So have we decided, have, yeah, have we decided that commercial isn't going to be included in our recommendation, or is that?
So we haven't decided. I do put that in the slide on, you can still see my slide, right?
Yep.
On how much we would raise. I did say residential only.
Okay,
I think when I talked over this slide, I said we could include commercial. It would be, only a little bit more money because there isn't that much commercial property. And
Maybe add that to your speaker notes down at the bottom.
yeah,
Remind us to say so.
right. This is, yes. Yeah. Residential property. Property tax base. Yeah, and then you can get into the politics as much as or as little as you want, but it's funny. I don't think while we're obviously not supposed to lobby voters, I don't think we're prohibited from speculating about them. The voters, that is. I'm not aware of any reason why that would be problematic. But yeah, in terms of this, it's actually, because it's single family homes, this is definitely not conveying any information about commercial property. That's all. There's a chat from Katie. Oh, cool. Oh gosh, there was a chat from Tony a long time ago that I didn't see. I'm glad that that wasn't trying to raise a comment. So, all right, I cannot copy and paste from the chat. I'm hoping that maybe the chat will be captured in the recording or something, or also Katie could just email me that list.
I can send it to you. It's just sort of like a vague breakdown of some of the things that it could fund for housing.
Yep. I'm also not, I don't know if any of us will mind, if affordable housing goes to 2 pages, I'm actually kind of okay with that, in part because that's probably the area that most of our audience can know at least about. Certainly that was true of several of us on the committee, as we expressed during the presentations this spring. I think the affordable housing one was the most educational relative to what we already knew. So
Joe?
Yep.
Hi. I have a suggestion for the title of this and for something else in the chart. The title might be alternatively, what is the range of costs being considered? And then in the chart above 0.5%, 1%, and 1.5% would be surcharge rate options.
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, so because we're all familiar with this and we kind of know what it says, but someone new to this chart may not be getting that we're considering options and what the impact on the different rates of would be on different property owner groups.
I'm just wondering, why do we have 0.5 as an option? Was that something we talked about? Because it seems like if I was just learning, I would think that the max was 1.5, when it's really 3.
I could certainly generate the number for 3% and replace it. I think having 3 is nice from a presentation point of view. I could do 2.
This is just like this committee's suggestion. It could be from 0 to 3, but this is our suggested range or something? I don't know. What do you think?
Options, Joe?
Surcharge rate options. Yeah.
Maybe maximum of 3% after it, or I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah, scare people.
But why do we have
3%.
0.5? Did we talk about 0.5 as an option?
not lately.
Does anybody have 0.5 of all the towns on?
Yes, I think before Winchester and Egremont, the last one to do it before that was 0.5. It's definitely a recent thing. It's people going for the I got to keep it under $100 thing. Indeed, we are basically 1 year's assessment away from cracking $100 for the 1% on the average. When this number goes up by 2% or a little over 2%, we will turn over the odometer.
That's
but-
$100 a year, right?
Yeah. No, it's and if you own a house which is assessed at this and probably has a market value of more like $1 million, then you're probably good for it. But no, I think the somebody did one of the recent ones. Again, this was early on. Like we've had several new CPA communities since this committee formed, and it was like 1.5% for Winchester and 3% for Egremont. Is that the name?
Egremont, yeah.
Yeah, and but prior to that, it seemed like people's surcharge rates were trending downward over time.
I have Sharon, Sheffield, Townsend, and Swampscott, and Winchester are the 2024 newbies.
Was that like one of them was 0.5% and the others were 1% and Winchester was 1.5%? Am I remembering that right?
I don't know. I was just looking at who is.
All right.
Egremont is the only one.
Yeah.
In 2024.
But point taken. I mean, this is okay. So, all right, we're doing document writing by committee, but that's a necessary evil.
Well, I guess your header says, what are we considering? So it's not like
Yes.
what is possible with the CPA.
Yeah, I mean, I resist putting 3 in here because we're not considering it. I also understand not putting 0.5 in here because realistically, it doesn't sound like we're considering it. When we did a straw poll last time, it was really, I heard 1 and I heard 1.5.
So in the speaker notes, maybe you would just say it goes up to 3%, and here's what our committee is thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would leave the 0.5 in there because there may be some committees that would vote yes to support it if they thought they could get it for 0.5%, you know? It doesn't give us as much money to spend, but, it gets our foot in the door.
But also look at the lower end of the range where 1.5 I think is the upper end, given that I thought that most of the committee members were pitching 3-1. So we're going on either side to be fair and getting input from sources that we're seeking around the range.
Yeah.
I think it's a fair way now. See what comes back.
And is it only being applied to single family homes?
That's the
This
Oh.
chart is based on single family homes. Yeah.
Okay, but in
But
the case,
2-family houses and condos would also be paying in, right?
Yeah, exactly. All residential property, apartment buildings,
okay,
condos,
so these numbers
multifamilies.
are low. These are low numbers then, right?
I mean, you depend. It's I mean, yes, relative to an apartment building, but again, also I would assume that if you have a large apartment building, maybe the more interesting question there is the impact on the rent of the individual renters, because presumably the landlord will pass that through, indirectly at least. But that's going to be much less than the impact on a single family homeowner who has no one to pass it through to. Um, I mean, I'm expecting the individuals who would be most impacted would be, owners of large single-family homes in terms of a per household impact thing here. So this is a, because if you own a two-family, it's going to cost more than one family, but probably not twice as much.
It's also, gonna be driven by the value of the house.
Yeah.
And, the mansions that are more in the north end of town.
Well, that's our top 10% over there, right?
What about the $100,000 deduction?
Included.
Does it say?
It doesn't say that on the chart, but we're assuming that when we come up with
Yeah.
those numbers.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
First. Assumed. Yeah. One thing actually that is a caveat on the previous one does not account for people who qualify for. Oh, this is a thing that I omitted that maybe the Antiquarian Society folks mentioned. Somebody mentioned to me that there are, or no, maybe this was Town Forest. One of them mentioned that you qualify for low income and or senior exemptions. Because we have the, I believe there's the low income exception and there's a low and moderate income senior exception. And while we haven't talked about it, there's obviously we have the option to adopt both. That would make this number, slightly smaller, but only slightly. I think
Is a senior 65 plus?
I don't know.
But
I'm sure we looked that up, but
the senior exemption only applies if you're low enough income. It doesn't apply to all seniors.
Is there,
Yes.
is there a number that's low and moderate that the state uses, or we would come up with our own idea?
no, it's defined. I think it might be like, but I don't remember how they're defined. Maybe that's I'm giving myself a reminder to look up definitions of
I think it would vary by community, no?
I don't think it would vary. I think it would be set. I mean, the income will be, on the east side of Massachusetts will be higher than the west side of Massachusetts, but it still would be a certain percentage.
So
Yeah.
Joe,
Yep.
one more suggestion on this slide. Might you consider adding the word local surcharge collected, and then on the next two lines, plus state match?
Yep.
Or just-
I think it's called CPA trust matches.
I'll play with the formatting to make that look better, but
That's a good suggestion, Sandy.
yep.
Yeah.
Sure, sure,
That's
sure,
our-
sure.
That's our state money that we're getting by doing this.
No, it's the total.
It is the total, but
But and again, I mean,
yeah, you can look at the math and say, oh, well, if we do this,
and that, I mean, and we should be clear when we're talking about it, that's just the beginning, that, this is what comes from the registry, and then that the CPA funds can go out and get other money too, as leverage. So,
and that's in our housing one.
yeah, but
used
it
for
also
grants.
applies to, I'm sure there's recreational, trails money or tree money or whatever that are looking for community matches, that if we had a community match, $2 of Reading could get $2 more of state or something like that.
There we go. It's in.
Yeah, I had it here, and then actually now that you mention it, I feel like this is a drum that I want to beat on actually. Which is provide local match. state and federal grants. Oops. For disaster preparedness and legal protection. Yep, because it's
Sounds more.
Yeah, no,
all right. Anything else?
I think that's good.
It's like I'm looking at Sandy's lips to make sure he's not talking and I'm not hearing. Okay, good.
the only request is for Jax to do the documents, since I'm not very good at Google.
I couldn't, and indeed, I could not hear the end of your sentence.
I'm just gonna ask Jax to do the documents for the handouts that I do.
Yeah.
Slideshows.
So,
Oh,
Slideshows.
I was assuming I'd do it as a slideshow. But it's true, they might want a hard copy. I don't know how many sheets of paper we want to run off, but
well, the other thing, if you want to run off fewer sets of paper, is that we have the one pager.
right. Hand out the one pager and do the slideshow.
But not every place is gonna be like that in person at the Reading Housing Authority, they don't have.
Yep.
At Reading Open Land Trust, we did it in a room at the library that had no projector, but there was only 5 people.
So everybody.
So I put my screen there at the end of the table and everybody looked at my computer screen. You know, it wasn't giant,
Yeah.
but it was adequate for that size group.
Yeah. Yeah,
For
the
the-
housing authority usually has about 8 or 10 residents in attendance as well as the board.
Okay.
A little bit different, but we'll make do.
I was just gonna
The
say,
definition of senior is 60 for CPA purposes.
Okay.
all right. Shall we move along in the agenda? Because unfortunately, we haven't even started talking about the street fair. So yeah, the Reading Fall Street Fair. That is on the 13th of September. No, 7th. 7th. The wrong weekend. The right week, but the wrong end of that week. The street fair is from noon to 5 p.m.
You said the 7th? You said Sunday, the 7th?
That's correct. I'm just double checking that in my, I'm with a little bit of, okay, they have a new website. But yes, their website is Reading Fall Street Fair with an E on fair.com. And
I can
yes,
do some, if not all of that time.
yeah, actually, maybe the challenge here is a couple of us might have other, you know, I don't know if historical and conservation are going to have tables again, like we did for Friends and Family Day. But if we do, obviously, I understand you might be there. But let's
So this is an informational only event, right? We're just gonna have the flyers and I don't know, maybe some poster boards or.
well, that's a good question. There was a suggestion. Gosh, I can't remember where it was. There was a suggestion from someone that I really liked to make a map, to print out a map of the town and annotate it with places where CPA projects could occur. So we would, you know, put some pins in for historic buildings. We'd put some pins in for, you know, our you know, conservation areas in the town forest. Put some pins in for, you know, the various, you know, athletic fields around town. And and then put some pins in for it's funny, most of us couldn't locate any Reading Housing Authority stuff in Reading except Tannerville, so it might be good to highlight a few of the others so that people know they even exist. So there was the map idea.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. That could really jump off a page.
Yeah, and maybe they could be color coded,
Yeah.
like the conservation areas are already green, but the housing could be yellow and the recreation could be red, something like that.
Yep.
Would you identify the sites of the projects?
Identify the what of the projects?
Sites or projects at the location of the.
Yeah, no, that's actually, I mean, just taking the lists we already have.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
So here's where I turn this back around. Who can make this map? I'm not, I mean,
If I were gonna do it, I would be sticking pieces of Post-it note onto a map. Oh,
The whole thing.
yeah, but then it would need to get printed. I know Chuck
Yeah.
prints big maps for us here that we take to the conservation table. So,
oh, is that actually because I mean, if there's some sort of poster printer functionality at town hall, I mean, I don't want to abuse town hall's printers, but one poster printout of town with, you know, little markers for potential CPA projects or past projects that could have been CPA would go an awfully long way.
I can see if Matt can print a big map of the town for you.
All right.
So then-
How big is big?
Hmm?
How
Like
big
that
is big?
size, like that size?
Try to get a poster board, yeah.
yeah, I think we don't want it quite as big as the thing on the wall because it needs to fit on the table.
Okay.
So if the table is 2.5 feet wide, we want the poster to be no more than 2.5 feet tall.
Which, you know, means it's less expensive in terms
Also,
of printing.
You really want it flat on the table, under
Yeah.
your canopy, so it doesn't get rained on. She says from experience with conservation, posters getting rained on every time.
We have had a string of bad luck for these kind of events in town.
Okay, but if
All right.
they printed out a map, which I know already exists, that has the conservation areas showing in green, we would still need to take a highlighter and mark up other spaces or ask the person making the map to highlight our spaces for us, and we'd have to tell them where to highlight.
Yeah.
So
And
how big of an
conservation-
ask would that be, Jackie?
I guess it
I-
depends on how much you're looking for.
Okay,
If you could provide a list, he could probably tell you what that would entail.
I mean, I you know enough of like Google My Maps, which I've used for making things like, it would be pretty, actually, let me put it this way, and this is, okay, I just figured out which part I should volunteer for, because I feel like I should volunteer for something and not everything, and I think I might have it. If I have a list of addresses for places where CPA projects could or have occurred, potential, just say potential or actual CPA projects, potential or actual CPA eligible projects, I should say. I can take those lists and I can make a, you know, picture, which is just a Google Maps printout, but with little pins of different colors for the different types.
Well, it just,
Um,
It already exists.
okay, so why, you want me to show
Yeah,
everybody?
see if Martha thinks it. There's like a map on the GIS that shows like the conservation area, but it also shows basketball courts and
oh, Hunt Park, Washington Park, schools. Okay, Yeah, conservation areas map dash PDF.
Yeah, I can send you a link to it. And then really the only thing that would be missing would be maybe some historical stuff
Yep.
and some affordable housing stuff.
Yeah, and
And I can
this
mark up
is the map
afford-
that we use at our table at conservation. Oh, and look, it even has bird watching, basketball court, etc.
fishing, yeah.
Yeah.
If you just
Yeah,
walking trails, cross country.
playgrounds.
So
Yeah.
if we could add a symbol for historical,
Well, I would
housing.
say like color in with a
A
marker. There's no yellow on here, so we could use yellow because that shows up really nice. And
Yeah,
then,
there we go.
yeah, that's ochre.
Okay.
You know, it's not yellow, yellow. And then pick a color, another color to put in for
Affordable
housing,
yeah.
you know, one housing, one historical. Like, so we get Parker Tavern in there.
So the library is historical. so
Ah,
Maybe
Yeah.
we use navy for historical.
okay. Yeah,
So,
So
yeah, I
maybe
mean,
we'll
okay,
put
so
that
No,
in.
this
that's
is
the one.
actually, so this is what I'm hearing and seeing is that this is like one, basically, this is a layer of affordable housing markers away from being more or less what we're talking about.
And historical.
Oh, okay, so we do, yeah, we do need historical. I mean, some of the things here are historical, but not every historical thing is on here. So, and it doesn't call out, but yeah. Okay, well then is maybe the way to do this, I have this, you know, technological solution, but I might be overthinking it because it might just be easier for somebody to mark up this, or for
And
that
I
matter.
think in some ways it would look more like we've put our touch on it by having our Sharpie filled in, you know, our highlighter filled in on the other things we want to point out. You know, as opposed to just here is something that the town already made and we're just showing it to you.
You mean just mark up this map?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Print out this map, get a big copy of this map printed for us. And then
Yeah.
we go in with, I have a package of 6 different color Sharpies and, I mean, not Sharpies, highlighters. And we add highlighter dots and we add a code at the bottom that says historical and affordable housing.
You actually, in Staples, they do have dots. You can buy different
Mm-hmm.
colors.
Yeah,
Because I remember we've used them for a project. but-
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could even edit this PDF by putting, like, you know, I could come up with a little housing icon that could be just added to the other icons that they've had. And you could come up with a
Okay.
historic one.
I mean, so, let's see, I'm trying to figure, do we have, I'm not gonna call it a subcommittee because that probably requires some sort of protocol that I don't want to worry about. But a less than a quorum of us who want to, I mean, the question of, I mean, I don't personally care whether we use a PDF editor to edit a PDF or print out a poster and then take stamps or markers to it. I can see arguments for both. But I just think all we need to figure out in this meeting is who's doing it. And it can be, you know, 2 or potentially even 3 of us. Just don't tell me about it if there's 3 of you.
Mhm.
You get pleasantly surprise me when you show up to the street fair. Unfortunately, I can't see. So now that the map is really useful to me, but now I can't see everyone else because you're now about this big on the screen.
Okay, I am going to make a motion that Margaret and Sarah work on this because they are the ones who know historical and housing locations. And they don't have to do the work, but they have to give us the list of the addresses.
Yeah.
And then if,
Should
know.
we hand it off, like Margaret marks up hers and then I mark up mine and then you mark up?
well, conservation's already on there, I'm done.
Oh, you don't have
But-
anything
but-
additional to add? Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
But you know, I'd be happy if you give me your list of locations to take a Sharpie to the paper. If Joe wants to do a technological thing and add a thing on the PDF, you know,
We don't need to do 2 things. I think we're making one thing here, and we can make whichever way. I mean, I have.
What do you want to do, Margaret?
I'm flexible, whatever's easiest.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm not, I mean, I have to do it in the next week. So I'm not gonna get it done.
How soon can we get a copy of the map?
A printed copy?
Yeah, to mark up.
I can ask tomorrow.
Okay.
Um,
And I'll just print it at home and I can, or, I can mark it up
Mhm.
and then scan.
Do we want a large printout to mark up, or do we want? I mean, I guess this depends on whether you're marking up the PDF electronically or with Martha and her Sharpies.
Joe, if you did it as a PDF, could it easily be tucked into the packages for the committee presentations?
With all due respect to Martha's Sharpies, I think there's actually a good argument for trying to do this electronically. We create a modified PDF, which could be first, that doesn't require the town to print anything before we get started. When it's done, if it looks good, we can ask the town to print one big.
Bring it there.
But we can also use it, we can print small copies to give out to people. We can include it in packets. We can include it in the report.
Okay, I agree.
So
how about if Margaret works on adding her PDF locations for housing?
Then you
Because
send it
then
to
she
me.
has to go sooner. And then
Send it to
once
me.
she's added hers, send it to you and
Okay.
you can add some yourself. And do you know how to add something onto a PDF? Or would you need Margaret to teach you how?
Maybe, is it something tricky?
I'll write it down
Okay.
once I figure it out.
Okay.
There we go.
okay, I mean, what I'm hearing here is Sarah and Margaret can work together on getting historical and affordable housing markers onto a PDF map, which then can be, once we're not discussing it, we're just sharing it. We can distribute it to the committee, and also give it to Jackie, and if ask Matt if we can get a printout or not. If we can't get a printout, we could probably do a Staples thing or something too. But
Okay.
So okay, cool. So that's and then yes, we'll since I'm not working on that map, we'll go ahead and volunteer for making more copies of the flyer, the one-pager flyer, because we do want to have a stack of those people can take with them. I'm writing this down. Print out flyers, one-pagers. All right. I have a tent. Just nobody's asked about that yet, but table and tent I have, and a minivan to transport them. That's all. So then I think we maybe need to talk about times, or we want to at least make sure we have, it's okay for more than one of us to be there as long as it's not 4 of us at once. And which should be easy enough to avoid.
I'm one in the category of also being at a table for the historical commission, but I'm happy to do a shift. So I haven't signed up yet for the historical commission.
It sounds like, Joe, you should be first shift because you will be arriving
Yeah.
with the table and the tent. Are you available?
So setup is actually sort of a separate step beforehand. Like you can drive in and drop stuff off before they close the street.
Yeah.
Completely.
Are you available for the setup time?
Yes. I actually don't know if I'm available at the first shift. I just realized there's a problem here where I might be selling popcorn with the Cub Scouts at their table at some point. I believe my shift well, my son's shift, which becomes my shift as well, was like noon to 1:15 last year or something like that. I don't know if that's been determined. I'm trying to figure out if there is an OML safe way for us to do the sign up.
I believe that scheduling things does not violate open meeting law. Conservation does it all the time. So as long as we're not discussing and deliberating on something, if we're just scheduling, it should be fine.
Okay. Um,
And I am flexible. I can do whatever shift is needed.
Scouts. Yeah. All
But
right.
it would be good to know what my shift will be.
Yes. So,
And it goes from 12 to
yeah,
6.
I can, and I mean, I could do a sign up genius or something to, make this easier. But yeah, if I'm not worried about OML, then let's do this online. I'll do a sign up genius so that we have, 2 slots people can sign up for.
And ideally, 2 people per slot is good.
Yep. More than that, it gets crowded. Less than that, and if somebody has to leave early or gets there late, you have a problem. So yeah.
So again, I'll be sorry to report away.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that, Margaret.
I'll be away.
Oh, okay. All right.
Sorry to report.
I should be around.
Yeah, we can see if we can get Carlo and
Eric.
Eric, exactly. So for any of this. Also, I don't want to sign up for more than than is needed, but I will definitely sign up for what is needed if it turns out that 3 of the 5 of us are out sick or something or otherwise unavailable. Then we will staff this table. But
We'll buy some popcorn.
buy some popcorn. Yes. No. 70% goes to support local scouts. Although my son is a much better salesman than me. He yes. He was the top seller in Reading, and he was like number 3 or something in the entire council, which includes Boston and most of its suburbs. And it was pretty awesome.
That's very impressive.
Impressive.
Yeah.
When you're making the sign up genius, I suggest you make a time slot for helping you set up the tent, because it's a lot easier to set up a tent with 2 people.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Include setup and tear down. Cool. All right, that's easy enough, and we don't need to stay up later tonight to sort that out, which is good. Is there anything else? So we'll have flyers, we'll have a map, we'll have a tent and a table, we'll have 2 people per time slot. I was just going to do 1-hour time slots, but obviously you can sign up for more than 1 in a row if you want. Does that sound good?
We had an idea from a few meetings ago of having 3 buckets and having people put a chip in the bucket that matches what they think is a good amount of surcharge, 5.51 and 1.5.
Remember that?
You don't remember that?
No, that's
Oh.
Great idea.
nice idea.
Yeah.
I don't remember
I
that.
wrote it down in my notes. Maybe I just wrote it down and didn't share it, but it was in my June 9th notes.
Maybe you have like 3
That
different.
is
3 jars and a bunch of marbles or something.
I'll somehow give you a jar that's half full of 1.5.
No, the slot that the token goes in is smaller for the bigger percentage.
I'm willing to volunteer to set that up. Whatever
Yeah.
tokens and jars are needed.
cool. I'm happy for that's great actually. If you can come with 3 jars and little signs and and bucket of marbles or whatever makes sense. feel like marbles in a glass jar might chip or something, but yeah,
I was thinking marbles in a plastic jar.
there you go. All right, cool. That's a great idea. Thank you for bringing that back up. Anything else we want to plan for the street fair?
And just to be clear, we are not asking people to vote on this. We're just informing them what we're gonna talk to town meeting about. Right? We have to be
We're
kind
asking
of careful
It's
about
always,
that.
we're always allowed to ask people for input. That's also always fair. So for example, asking them about surcharge rates, totally fair. Oh, hey, that's another, I'd better, I think my money chart slides are probably worth printing out in some form. So
Mhm. Yeah, to have on the table near the surcharge jars.
exactly, because otherwise people are like, I don't know, what does, what does 0.5% mean? What is, and it's like, more money, more better, or less taxes, more better. Like, that's not a useful discussion.
Right.
It doesn't have enough of the relevant context. Yeah, print pages of cost.
So Joe, you're gonna print those?
Yep, I'll do that. And I'll run off some more of the one-pagers.
Okay, so you're printing the one pagers. We're not asking Jackie to do that?
I
I
mean,
can print those.
Because Jackie can print the one pagers.
oh, okay, all right. If Jackie can print them and then tell me where to, how many do you think we should run off here?
100?
I mean, if we don't use them, we can bring them to town meeting. And town meeting's got, going on, well, we never have 192 people at town meeting, but 150 people at town meeting is quite possible.
Yeah, and we could also bring them to our committees we're going to. So I think 100 is a good place to start.
Okay, that's awesome. As long as that's cool. I don't know, putting on my finance committee hat, I know that the, spending budgets for most departments have been flat for years now. So I'm not sure we have the money for toner sometimes, but hopefully it'll be okay. I'm aware it's a service contract. We don't literally go out to, Staples and buy toner, but anyhow. All right, cool. And yeah, Jackie, if you let me know where to pick those up, I can include them with the setup. All right. Anything else regarding the Friends and Family Day? Or sorry, that's Feed the Fall Street Fair, not Friends Family Day. Again, my long day is starting to catch up with me. All right. Is there anything else people want to say right now about our standing agenda item of composition process and contents of a report?
I think we're good. Let's move on.
All right. Future meetings and agendas. We should book our next meeting. I don't think we have one planned yet. And we just littered the calendar with other
I know.
meetings.
Oh, first week in October. Seems like
There's
What's that?
nothing on September 17th. What day of the week is that? That's a
There's a
Wednesday. Never
No, there
mind.
is a financial.
Oh, financial forum.
no. Well, actually, that's actually a regular finance committee meeting, but I'm still gonna, lean away from that one if possible because I wouldn't be here.
October 8th works.
Monday, the 15th. No, October 8th is the financial forum.
No, it isn't. Is it?
Joe just told us he'd moved it.
Oh, okay,
September
good. I
8th,
better change
October
that.
8th.
Yeah, sorry. Don't believe everything you read on the internet. The agenda is out of date in terms of when the financial forum will be.
September 22nd is a Monday, and there's nothing on September 22nd.
Checking my own calendar.
Margaret can't come.
I'll still be away. Will she
Yeah.
ever be back in Reading?
But on the other hand, I do like, I mean, so that's Rosh Hashanah. Is that a concern for anybody here? That might be part of why there aren't a lot of other meetings that we do try to avoid those, although I don't think it's a,
I have
October
Rosh
8th.
Hashanah being the 23rd.
okay, well, I think it starts the evening of the 22nd is how this works, I think. But yeah, 22nd and 23rd are marked on my calendar, which is, I thought it was probably the evening of the 22nd, the 23rd.
Sandy says he's got it as the 23rd and 24th.
Really?
Me too.
Hold on, I have a search engine for this. When is
Gee, did Google make one of those?
I
It's the
don't
22nd.
understand how Rosh Hashanah works because it says evening of this 22nd through the day of the 24th. In other words, it says we're both right.
Oh.
Sundown.
Mine highlights the correct evenings and yours highlights the correct days. But yeah,
Is it 2 full days then?
apparently.
Okay.
And then Yom Kippur starts the 1st and 2nd.
Well, what about Monday, the 29th?
That works for me. I'm guessing we don't have that's still 2 September for Margaret.
Well, no, I'll be back, but I'll be in Phoenix.
Okay.
But I may be able to call in from Phoenix. I can do a Joe and just be in
I was gonna
Arizona.
say, I mean, I'm one time zone further than that, so it can be done. I mean, so yeah, so we're looking at 7:30 p.m. on Monday, September 29th.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
All right, Alt for CPA.
And by then, we'll have gone to a lot of these committee meetings. We can have a bunch of reports about them.
Yes, so in terms of future agenda content, I think it's obviously we're going to be talking about ongoing committee presentations, committee and organization presentations. And then at that point, we should probably start the conversation about what our town meeting presentation looks like. Town meeting is in November, but I don't know how many times we'll meet.
Remember, is the report going post town meeting, right? After we get their input?
Correct. The written report, the full report would be, I think we were,
Right.
if I recall, I had ideas about having it for town meeting, and then other people correctly pointed out that town meeting is another opportunity to gather input on our rate recommendation.
I mean, we can have like almost a draft of it
Yeah,
and not
But-
have the
yeah. If it's an incomplete draft, though, we would probably just share it electronically. I wouldn't want to spend a bunch of money
oh
running
yeah,
off
no, you
copies.
don't want it printed. No, but and maybe it doesn't even get shared, but the content is directing, or you're aligning your content with your presentation. The town meeting.
Yeah, no, I think it's and getting a drafting report. All right. So yeah, that's so yeah, even without aiming to have a presentable report for town meeting or a final report for town meeting, we will want to start talking more concretely about the report.
Yeah. And I still have it penciled in that I was going to be the design person.
Which
forgotten.
yes.
And we should make sure we know what our deadline is to get on the warrant for town meeting, or to be able to talk to town meeting or something. If we're asking for time at the podium.
Oh yeah.
Needs
Good point.
to be
Under the topic of outreach, the chair of this committee should probably reach out to the moderator to ask for. So let me write that down here. About presenting to town meeting in November. And there's no reason why I can't ask him as soon as I have time to do so. I figure it doesn't hurt to get on his radar sooner rather than later. In terms of what I'm asking him, actually, I guess we're talking about a slide presentation, probably comparable in size to the one we've got for the committees, or I just want to know how much to ask for in terms of time. Because I'm sure
Yeah.
he'll be like, you want to talk? How much?
I would say the same presentation we're presenting to the committees.
All right.
And it does, and I think the question is, are we getting feedback from town meeting or just cluing them in that this is on the horizon? Because as soon as they get to stand up and start talking, all hell could break loose.
No,
So I
no,
think
no,
it's
yeah, no,
really
no.
more of just
We would direct them to readingma.gov/CPA and ask them to send us feedback, which is still really cool. Thank you, Jackie, again. So, all right.
So
I'm
by
actually,
the
that's
time
worth
we've
calling
done a
out.
few of our presentations, we'll have a good sense of how long this slide deck takes to run.
Yeah.
10 minutes or something.
Yeah, I mean, I can, you know, I should probably give the presentation to a mirror before I try to do it again in public myself anyway. See how long it takes me to give an estimate. And then, yeah, I think when I reach out to Alan, I will make a point about how we are not asking for a discussion in town meeting. That would not, you know, he wouldn't give it to us for the record. You don't discuss things at town meeting that you're not voting on at town meeting. But it helps our case if I lead with the fact that I understand what we're getting into and what we're not getting into. Back outside the meeting. We do want the feedback. It's just not going to come in the form of a floor debate at town meeting this time.
Sure, why don't we, at town meeting, have a date for one of our meetings at which we invite feedback from town meeting members? In other words,
That's a good point. That's like a future agenda, but I think it's a good one that we aim for some meeting after town meeting. Which at this point we're talking like last chance because we're getting close to when we have to report to the select board. But I think we could probably wedge in a meeting somewhere that is after town meeting, probably after Thanksgiving, because town meeting usually runs up to Thanksgiving. So now you're talking about beginning of December, which is a crazy time, but oh well. And then, you know, after town meeting to get feedback.
Is it possible to have like a handout that people could write any comments in a box that they could drop it in at town meeting? So that so that you get more immediate response. You know, people sometimes will say, I'll write something now, and then by the time they get home, they forget that they were going to do that. But that's something we can talk about close to November too.
Yeah, no, I think there's not any reason why we couldn't have a literal suggestion box. I think we could. And I do like the fact that we're going overboard on the feedback thing because I'm just really tired. I mean, we're still going to get people when this goes to the voters, there's still going to be people being like, I've never heard of this before. Why didn't you give me? But we're going to do everything we can to give people a chance to weigh in sooner. So, all right. Cool. So yeah, I'll ask Alan about town meeting. Anything else for future agendas? Nope. And we have our next meeting scheduled. I don't feel the need to schedule the next one after that yet. All right. Last thing on our agenda is meeting minutes.
I move to accept the minutes from our July meeting.
I second it.
All right. Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Sarah. Any discussion before we vote. I'm giving them one last scroll myself. Nothing jumped out at me before, but I know I'm distracted. Like, boy, that's a long list of committees. But you know, that's what we. That's an accurate. Those are accurate minutes. Oh yeah, we talked about. In addition to sports, like, see, there's stuff we didn't talk about tonight that we talked about then, like PTOs and the town party committees. We still may yet reach out to them. All right. Any further discussion? Or no comments? Or all right, let's vote. Sandy,
Yes,
Martha,
Yes,
Sarah,
Yes.
Margaret,
Yes.
and Joe. Yes, that's 5-0.
I move to adjourn.
second,
Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Sandy. Let's vote. Sandy,
yes.
Martha,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Margaret,
Yes.
and Joe. Yes. We are adjourned. Thank you all for putting up with the remote chair thing. I'll try not to have an emergency work trip for our next meeting. So, thank you all very much.
Thank you, Joe.
Did I
Thanks, Joe.
shock you?
Yeah, I didn't
Bye.
realize how my slideshows.
Yeah.